guys, I just recognised a comment from somebody. Pedal mentioned that did we fuel this car back up when we got back home to check if the consumption to litres was actually correct, and I actually haven't. So we've only just actually left. This is the next day after I published a video, so it's a Tuesday, and I've only just left Bound, and now we're heading actually up to Echuca, over more west of the border, and I'm currently at just over just the high range of 290 k's remaining, so it thinks. So what I'll do is I've got to fuel up. I've got to fuel up shortly. So when I do that, I'll actually record that and put a follow-up video to see if the litres match what's on the screen, because that might help us identify to make sure that the consumption is right. Because you're right, if that's wrong, then all the calculations also don't make sense. So that has to be accurate, and that might also prove. I mean, right now it says 291 kilometers remaining, which I think is 29.1% remaining fuel. It'd be good to see if that's actually correct or not, into my theory. Alright guys, so we've pulled off the freeway into the Logic Centre, and we're going to chuck some more 98 in here. The car is currently, I mean, yep. If we're going by my theory, okay, we have about a quarter of a tank of fuel in. Because my theory is in the fact that if we're looking at the remaining fuel, it's just 251 kilometers remaining, which I think is 25.1% remaining in fuel. Now, if I'm correct, we should get around 45 litres into the tank, because it's a 60 litre tank, but we don't actually know how much of that is reserve either. Something else to consider is, like I was saying earlier, guys, have a look at the difference here. 251 kilometers remaining, 554 kilometers done. We're going to get nowhere near 1,000 kilometers like I estimated, like I said in my previous video that I posted. If you think about it, I think the real world range on this car is about 800 k's with a full electric battery charge, so a single charge and a full tank of fuel. But anyway, let's go see what I put in the tank and see if my theory about fixed percentage reading is how that comes up. Because every time we fill it up, 1,000 kilometers remaining, that's 100%. And it only ever drops by the last number, -1, every time. Because this would just keep going 250, 249, 248. And I've just watched this so many times that I'm so convinced that that's what it's doing. Yes, it would be. Alright, let's see, guys. 98 back in the tank. Here we go. Will we get 45 litres? Well, hang on. I needed to check also how much fuel used we had on the computer.
Yeah, but that'll reset before you reset it, though, won't it?
No, but I'll check that in a second. Sorry, guys, I didn't grab that first. But I'll just quickly go to the car and see how much it thinks we've used since we reset it at 7-Eleven yesterday morning. Because it's quite interesting. I mean, these things don't really matter in a great scheme of things, but it's good information to have and know.
That was only an estimate. We're only estimating around 45.
We are
estimating, give or take a couple of litres either side.
But then the computer should say 45 litres of petrol being used. I don't know. I just noticed that the estimate just goes sideways after 900 k's, gets worse and worse and worse as you go lower in the fuel tank. So that's why I think it's percentage based and it's not actually indicative of kilometers. 42.16. That's what we stopped at. So now let's go check in the dash to see what. Let's just have a quick look. So let's just close my door because of all the noise. If we look in here, the energy consumption, it says 40.2. So how much do we put in?
42.1.
It only thinks we've used a consumption of 40.2. And look, guys, 1,000% range, 1,000 kilometer range again, which I swear is 100% range.
That'd probably be right if you take, let's say, 5 in reserve, so 55 litres, then probably pretty close to 42 litres. Give or take.
Well, there you go. So that's my findings, and thank you to person that posted asking this question in the first video, because if you didn't post at that precise time, I probably wouldn't have been able to collect this information at this fill up, because we literally was going to fill up like 10 minutes after. So the timing was spectacular. And look, guys, let's think about that. 554 kilometers for 40 litres of fuel. That's higher than we actually think. 110 kilometers an hour though, mostly. So anyway, I better go pay for this. The guys inside are looking at me weird. Thank you. So that's the literage if you want to freeze the screen and take the information down. I'm my co-driver. What's he doing? I also realised one more thing, guys. Do I have to put this disclaimer in? From when we left Bouna, which we had, I think it was 530 or 40 kilometres, the last 15-20 Ks, I've actually been doing in sports mode. It wasn't eco, because I did not plan for this to be part of the test. It just so happened to work out this was included. So, not that it'll make a great difference, but I have to put that in there because I know someone's going to comment and go, hang on, you're in sports mode now. All right, guys, and also, before we wrap this one up, if you have just started watching this video off the YouTube feed, you might want to watch the first video where we did the actual fuel test from Melbourne. So that's in the top right hand corner now, and also on the end screen of this video, which should be appearing there shortly. But don't forget to subscribe to our content if you're following the BYD hybrid ecosystem, DMI, DMO stuff, because we'll have a Shark 6 soon on the channel, and we'll probably perform a lot of these tests that we've done on the Sealion 6 also on the Shark 6. Talking about that, there's ROCV charge stations there. Suckers that have to sit there and charge when I can just put fuel in and keep going. Alright guys, something interesting. This video is just turning into like a secondary fuel test, unintentionally, because now I've just been looking at the information here. We left Logic Centre at around 550 kilometres on the trip A, which we're at 716 at the moment, and the fuel remaining says 818 at the moment. So I'm reading that as 81.8 percent. Sorry, 81.8%. Now, what's interesting about that is the economy's obviously dropped, well, has improved, should I say. And I think that's primarily because I'm cruise control 100 down here, as opposed to 110, 115 up the Hume. Looking at that, I think we were, so 550, what did you say it was?
About 160 difference.
So 160 kilometres travel, 95% of that's 100 k's an hour, for, what's that, 19% fuel, 20% fuel, so what would that be? 60 litres.
Less than 15 litres.
So
about 12 litres.
Well, actually, that's not that good. So if we've used 12 litres, 460 kilometres, what does that work out to be?
About 6 litres per 100.
Oh, that is better.
5-6 litres per 100.
Yeah, that's better. So that's gone down from our nominal 7 or 8 down to 6. So it doesn't really make a difference doing 100. Do I need to? No. Wait, do I need to turn there? Anyway, I just thought that's an interesting thing to note. The other thing I was also going to mention is someone did say somewhere, and I don't know if it was on one of my videos or something I read on Facebook or YouTube. They're saying that the battery, the alternator or the generator in this car can't charge this car from very, very low percentage at high speeds. When I left Banner this morning, this car was actually around about 19%. And this had happened because I'd actually left the car running with the AC running all day, just to drain the battery right down. What I can tell you for certain is that when I got back onto the freeway on the Hume heading back towards the border, I was doing 115 k's an hour locked on cruise control, and the battery percentage was going up. So it can actually charge the battery from very low all the way up to 70% while doing 115 k's an hour. I mean, it went up to about 45% before I had back down to about 100 k's an hour, but even then, from 100 k's, that last stretch, straight up to 70, no problem. So, to answer that question, yes, the generator can actually charge a battery from very low at high speeds, even while it's providing power to the front axle. Alright guys, so we've just arrived at our destination. So we did, I think, just over 200 kilometers to get here, where the odo's reading for the trip, the trip meter's reading 773.9. Whatever the K's were at Logic Centre, I'll put them up on the screen here so you can see the distance. But look, overall, I think that the economy was definitely a lot better doing 100. And if we're going to believe what this says, or my theory, we are at 73.5% fuel remaining. Let's have a look in here. So that is the statistics getting to this point. And should give you an idea. I mean, you guys can break the math down. I've done so much driving, my head's mush. But this might be useful to you guys if you wanted to. I've literally driven from, Logic Centre to here, just over 200 k's, 95%, 100 k's cruise control the whole way. 98 octane, full tank of fuel from Logic Centre to Moama in New South Wales. So anyway guys, hopefully that's been useful insight to you, and I'll see you guys in the next video.